Welcome to the Wednesday Match Play, your weekly connection to the biggest and best brands in golf. On this show you will learn more about the latest golf fashion trends, hear from LPGA and PGA Tour players, get advice on planning your next golf getaway, and much more. Broadcasting live from Palm Desert, California, now on the tee, Ricky Potts.
Head over to letsPlayThrough.com. Gabe has one of the most genius devices Garmin has put out in a long time. He's taken a look at their first junior golf watch, designed to help young golfers learn the game and improve. Gabe is taking his son Lucas out on course to check out the features of this watch.
Experience the spirit of St. Andrews with Eden Mill. From our award-winning gins and whiskeys to our craft beers, every sip tells a story of Scotland's rich tradition and modern innovation. Handcrafted with passion and precision, Eden Mill is more than a drink. It's a celebration of heritage, flavor, and the art of distilling. Perfect for toasting life's moments, big or small. Discover Eden Mill today and raise a glass to Scotland. Eden Mill, raise a glass to Scotland. Learn more at edenmill.com.
Club Solutions Group is an IT and technology consulting firm focused on private clubs, helping them improve operations, security, and the member experience through services like managed IT, data analytics, cybersecurity, and technology strategy. In this episode of the Wednesday Match Play podcast, brought to you by Eden Mill St. Andrews, Ricky shares the story about where the name came from and how he first connected with Rick, CEO of Club Solutions Group. He dives into his experience taking the PAT, his journey to joining Club Solutions Group, and provides an overview of the company's core services. Ricky also breaks down their support model, the growing importance of cybersecurity in the club space, and what it means to support Mac users and offer live chat solutions. This was a technological conversation, and it was an honor to have Ricky on the show. Let's tee off. I am really pumped for this conversation for a couple of reasons. One, we have the same name, so it's really weird for me to say this, but Ricky, welcome to the Wednesday Match Play podcast, brought to you by Eden Mill St. Andrews.
Thanks, Ricky. I appreciate it. It's kind of weird saying your name to another
really
person.
Is. And what's even funnier, so I got to tell you this quick story. So there's a club manager here in the Coachella Valley, Andrew Nepper. He's over at the Citrus Club, and we play a lot of golf together during the summer. And a couple of summers ago, he figured out that I was a big fan of Ricky Henderson, who talks in the first person. So now he and I, when we text, it's non-negotiable. We text in the first person. So he'll text me and be like, Andrew wants to know how Ricky's doing today. And Ricky will respond with, Ricky's doing good. Ricky wants to know how Andrew's doing today. And it's just absolute bonkers. And I love every second of it.
Got to make sure you're not doing it in front of members.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Some of these members might enjoy that, but
Yeah,
hey, man,
true.
it's not yet summer, but summer has arrived to the Coachella Valley. I mean, we're talking temps well into the 100s. It was 110 a couple of days ago. How's the weather where you are, and are you gearing up for a busy summer ahead?
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, I'll take New Jersey weather over 110 degrees any day. I will say that. But, we're heading into a great time of year. Weather's turning, courses are getting ready to open. You can feel the energy picking up at clubs. Today was 60 degrees. You can see the driving ranges full, their parking lots. So summer's absolutely our busiest time of the year, and most clubs up here in the Northeast. We only have a short period of time to get as many rounds in as we possibly can before old man winter, shows his face again. With summer at private clubs, everything's firing all at once. Golf courses packed, pools open, dining rooms full. Events are happening every weekend. And that, for us, means that technology has to be working perfectly. Try not to have any slow days. There really isn't any for them, to do some catch-up stuff. So, our heads are down right now, making sure that a lot of our clubs and our other businesses are buttoned up and ready to perform, at their best when the pressure's really on.
I was talking to the GM COO at the Colorado Golf Club the other day. They opened their operation on April 8th. We closed our operation on April 11th. So the opposite of seasons, but maybe one day I'll figure out how to spend my summers elsewhere and my winters here, and maybe I can go on a summertime vacation and go play golf where it's not
Yeah,
so hot.
you should make your way up this way in the summer. I mean, you've got in the metropolitan section, New Jersey, Long Island, New York, even eastern side of PA, South PA by like the Philly area, the golf courses are awesome. I mean, really good tracks. So we need to get you up here for sure.
Well, it's always great to interview another Ricky. I am Ricky on the birth certificate, but what about you? Is it Richard? And where did Ricky come from if it is Richard?
It is Richard. I'm actually a junior, so I have a senior. That's my father. So I got my dad to thank for that one. Growing up, everybody called me Ricky. My mom was very adamant that she did not want another Rich because my dad is Rich. Just too much confusion. So he started calling me Ricky, and it stuck. I guess there's worse things to be saddled with, and it's at least easy to remember.
Well, it's funny because I'm a junior as well, and maybe I'm just mad at my parents for not getting creative and giving me a cool, fun name. So I'm a junior. And when I was at the Lakes Country Club, I had a member that would call me RLPJ, which was hilarious 'cause my middle name's Lee. So that was fun. And then I had another one
Yeah.
that just shortened it and just called me RLP2. It's just awesome. But then
Yeah,
talk
I
about
never got the junior card or anything like that, so which was good. I didn't love that one, so Ricky stuck, and I was good with it.
well, yeah, and so talking about Rick, if people call me Rick, nope, that's my dad. But then your CEO is Rick, but RIC. We've got like 15. We're talking about Ricky Henderson, EY, RICKY, RIC. I mean, that's just a fun coincidence. But how did you and Rick meet, and what has that partnership been like since you guys connected?
Yeah, Rick is a great guy. I mean, he was or is a member at Knickerbocker Country Club where I came from. So I was the director of clubhouse operations over there. There was no general manager. We had a three-headed monster with the head professional and the superintendent. And Rick was on the board. And he came up to me with this idea. He has him and the other partner, Mike, have their own established, very, very, very good established well company, MSP, and they wanted to really get into the golf side of things because Rick noticed on the board, how dysfunctional from a tech perspective golf clubs are. When I say dysfunctional, they're just very outdated. And he said, I think we can do some really cool things here, let alone the MSP part of things and making sure everything's running properly, but also in the data analytics platforms. And that's something that he came up to me with. And I said, I think you're going in the right direction. Let's talk about it. And kind of just stirred from there.
Well, we'll talk about all that stuff here today. But before we jump into that, I mean, you're a PGA professional. Tell me more about your journey into the game, and do you remember that PAT experience?
Oh, the PAT. That's like it's like cursing at me. I hated that thing. Golf. It's interesting. Golf wasn't something that I played as a kid, but I grew up all around it. It's kind of in the DNA. My grandfather, born and raised in San Antonio, just outside of it, small town. Was an extremely accomplished athlete. He was actually going to be drafted at a high school for the St. Louis Browns, which I believe is now the Baltimore Orioles, or he could have taken a full ride to go to North Texas and play golf, and he decided that he was going to go the golf route and went to North Texas. Don't quote me, but I believe they won 3 national championships while they were there. He had multiple tour players. Don January was actually his college roommate, which was pretty cool. And then he made his way after school up to the Northeast because this is where all the money was. And he was an assistant at Glen Ridge Country Club for 1 year, and he went out and won the state open. Funny story about that is he wasn't supposed to play in that event. The GM told him he can't, and then the GM went on vacation, and he decided to do it anyway and went to Springbrook Country Club, where I actually worked later, and shot the course record and won the tournament. And then from there, he got head pro job at Essex Fells Country Club, where he was for 20 years before moving on to Burning Tree Country Club for another 20. But there's 4 brothers and 4 sons below him. The first one is Billy. Billy was the director of outside operations at Glen Ridge Country Club for over 40 years. They named opening day after him. Then my father, who played a little bit, some tour events. He played what is now known as the Travelers, made the cut. Really funny story there if we have time. And then he works for a distributor in the business, all the scorecards, tees, grips, all those things, company called Golf Max. Then the third uncle has had a storefront custom club making business for over 40 years. He's very well known in the industry around here, especially. And the fourth brother, Jimmy, works for a liquor distributor, actually, and supplies to a bunch of the country clubs in the area. So as a family, we always joke that we always cover all 19 holes of golf. Becoming the PGA professional, and now since moving on from that, it was kind of set up for me to do. But the PAT was the hardest part of my journey. I mean, I did it multiple times. I was a good player. I just couldn't hit a number. And when you tell me the number on the tee, that's all I fixated on. And the funny story is I passed it at our assistant championship at Canoebrook, one of the hardest tracks in the state, and I forgot that I signed up for it. Funny enough. But you used to have to sign up 2 months in advance. The tournament was in August, and we played it in. We signed up in June. Excuse me. And I forgot I signed up for it. And I went out and I shot like 73 in the first round. And then I'm playing in the second round, playing okay, couple over. And then I had 4 holes left, and it clicked in my head that I signed up for the PAT. And I decided that now I'm going to start making bogeys. And I actually bogeyed 3 out of the last 4. I came in, and my dad, who was helping, looked at me and he goes, "You passed it by like 10 shots." And I was like, "Oh, thank God," because I forgot that I even signed up for it. So it's one of the hardest things you can do is play in that event. It's so difficult to play 36 holes in one day, let alone know the number you have to shoot. It was really hard. I was very proud of myself for doing it, but it was difficult for sure.
Well, I can echo that from the certified club manager exam. I took it more than once, and it was the hardest thing, and it's not even close. The hardest thing I've ever done in my career, and I hope that I never have to take a test again. Sadly, I was at the CMAA World Conference, and they've made some changes to the certified chief executive, which is the CCE designation, and they're talking about an assessment as a part of that. They didn't say the word test. And I hope they don't, because I mean, when I tell you, I mean, imagine an exam that is across 10 different competencies. You have 400 questions. You don't
Oh,
know the competency in which you're in. You have a countdown clock for 8 hours in the top right of the computer screen, and go. And you have to
yeah.
score a minimum of 50% per competency, a minimum of 70% overall, and the questions are based off of a 750-page book and 4 different business management institutes. I could go on. I passed the test and I'm still stressed.
It sounds like it in your voice. I'll
Gee,
tell you that much.
no kidding. I'm starting to sweat here. I'm not even thinking about your 4-footer to oh,
Yeah.
hey, we did it. You're PGA,
Brutal.
I'm CCM. Let's go.
God, it was rough. It was rough.
Well, as a former
Boy.
country club executive, walk me a little bit through your career and what led you. I mean, obviously the amount of golf in your family, and then what from that led you to Club Solutions Group.
Yeah, so when I was younger, early 20s, I decided I'm going to go to work and didn't know what to do. And my dad said, "Well, there's a job at Fiddler's Elbow Country Club, which is down here in New Jersey, and it's a monster. It's 54 holes, huge piece of property, ton of events and crazy things." And he was like, "I can get you in there just to work in the shop and see how it goes." I said, "Okay, that's fine." I caddied and I know the golf business, so no problem. And I get in there. My first day, I walk in the door. They tell me I got to be there at 6. I walk in the door. We had 5 outings in one day. It was chaotic. It was crazy, and I loved it. For some odd reason, I loved it. And I came home. My dad said, "How'd it go?" And I said, "This is what I want to do. I want to do it." So I stayed there for the summer. And then my dad knew Springbrook Country Club, where I said my grandfather shot the course record and all of that, was hiring. So I went and worked there for a while. I was there for a long time. I was there for about 9, 10 years, and knew I had to make a move. I had a couple head pro interviews in there, one randomly at Essex Fells, actually. And I said, it's time for me to move. I got to, go work for some different people and figure it out. I just love the place. And I had to go. And I ended up traveling over to Upper Montclair Country Club, pretty well known around here. They've just hosted the last 3 years, other than this previous, the LPGA Tour. They've hosted the PGA Tour, the Senior Tour, used to have the NFL Golf Classic. So 27 holes, big piece of property, awesome place. I was there for 2 years, and then I was lucky enough to win Assistant of the Year when I was there. And when you win those, usually you start to get some more interviews. And I was lucky enough to accept the head professional job at Lake Mohawk Golf Club, again, here in New Jersey in Sparta. While I was there, they were making a change over in the GM spot. I was certified, or am certified, in general management through the PGA of America. And they asked me to do it. And I said, "I'll do it while they go through the process, but I want an interview because I want the job." And they said, "No problem." And I won it. So they transferred me over as the director of golf / general manager, which was great. Awesome place. But I knew again that I had to go somewhere a little bit bigger. That was a small place. And funny enough, Upper Montclair was rehiring for an assistant GM position. And as I talked about it with my wife and some people, I said, it looks like a step down, but it's really not because of the size of the club. And I wanted to be in a pure management capacity, no golf, because I saw that's where my career was going. Was there for about a year, and while I was there, I know the head pro really well at Knickerbocker Country Club, and he said, I got an opportunity for you if you want it. Call me. And I called him and talked to him about it. Met with the club president. Did a playing interview. I don't know why I had to play, but I played, and I played really well. Actually, birdied the first hole, went out and shot like even or one over, which had no bearing on what I have to do as a person, running your club. But they liked it, and I was there for about 2 years. And then sometimes things don't work out the way you plan. They wanted to move on from that role of director of clubhouse operations, hire a full GM, which I could have interviewed for, but then Rick came to me with this, opportunity at the same time, and the pieces just fell where they were, and it was, time for me to step out of the club world and move into this company and, get my weekends back a little bit.
Let's talk about Club Solutions Group. What is the company all about, and what types of services do you offer your clients?
Sure. So at the core of Club Solutions Group, we try to bring modern technology to the private world. So, like I said earlier, private clubs are a little behind when it comes to technology, whether it's, servers instead of the cloud or data analytics, which, we'll touch on a little bit later. I mean, to me, it's something that's needed, especially, running a place where I'm calling and, the North Stars and Jonases of the world trying to get what I need, and it's a little difficult to manage. We can be that that company that we can solve a lot of these issues just by setting up your club the right way. We really try to focus on your network, make sure we're, help desk wise, we're huge when it comes to customer service. We look at it literally every day, multiple times a day. Usually we check it. It's anywhere between 98 to 100%, 99%. And people do fill out those surveys that come back and they tell us. Because we want to make sure you're set up for success. And if you have problems, we want to make sure that we give you, the Four Seasons Ritz-Carlton, experience. No different than how you want to treat your members. You want to give them that experience, we want to give you that. Our ultimate goal is to have you set up so good that you don't have to call us. And the biggest piece is that we're all golfers and have been in the golf business in some capacity. You have me, which we already went through. Rick, board member at a club, the high-level player, single-digit handicap. Mike, member at a club, has been around the golf business. All of our data analyst is a caddy. His dad is a director of outside operations at a club. So we are all over the golf business. We understand it. We know that Saturdays at 8 a.m. when you call us, it's important. We're going to pick up the phone and fix it. Usually get at least a call back. If somebody doesn't pick it up right away, you get a call back in 15 minutes. No waiting days or any of these crazy stories I've heard. We try to have our level of service in par with what you want to provide your members.
You talk about good players. So, real quick, we had our member guest a few weeks ago here at the club, and I was just, after day one, looking to see some of the handicaps. Some of our golfers are pretty good players. One of our members, our club champions, his course handicap is +2, which is pretty good. And
That's pretty good.
When I look at the leaderboard and the team that's in the lead after day one, the guest is a +7 course handicap. Yeah. They're good players. Wow. I'm like, yeah, plus 7. That's like PGA Tour guys are +7. That's so good.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's impressive. I'm surprised he's not playing somewhere.
Yeah,
that's
no
pretty
kidding.
impressive.
Anyway,
Wow.
I'm a 5.5 right now. What's your index? Now you're playing to scratch because you got PGA after your name, but
yeah, I mean, I'm not really playing in anything anymore because of this. But I would say I fluctuate anywhere between, a +1 to a 3 or a 4, depending on the time of year. It just depends. The Northeast is hard. You come out of the winter and it's, freezing and you haven't hit a ball and you go out and shoot 82 and you're like, oh my God, I'm terrible. Then you warm up a little bit and all of a sudden you're back out there shooting 72, 73, 74. And, my goal always when I was a professional, especially teaching and playing, I just wanted to make sure I didn't go out and embarrass myself in front of the people that I'm showing how to play golf. And I was always pretty good at, holding my own.
Tell me more about Mike, your COO, and the role that he plays in the organization.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good mix between the three of us. I mean, it's awesome. Mike is, someone I genuinely enjoy talking to because he's extremely intelligent about a lot of things. Obviously, on the tech side for sure, but he's not just a technology guy sitting behind a screen that you think of. He's a golfer. He's a member in a private club. He understands the world that I've lived in and worked in. But his depth in technology, especially in the space that we're in, is truly impressive. He understands everything we're involved in at a high level. He sees, more importantly, he sees where we're going. He sees the future. His work with AI models in particular has been something to watch. I mean, it's really, really impressive. He's ahead of the curve. And on top of all that, he's one of the best salesmen I think I've ever met. He connects with people. He communicates, a vision. He asks people what their problem is. What do you guys want to solve? And he works through it. And I've watched it kind of secondhand, and it's really impressive to watch when you're next to him. And between him and Rick, because Rick is one of the best financial minds that I've been around. Beyond the business of these two guys, the partnership between the three of us goes more than that. We play golf together. We go out to lunch. We just talk. Mike's down in the Philly office or just outside of Philly, and Rick's up here with me, 2 feet from me. But you feel like you're in the same room with these three guys. They've really, this chapter of my career has been a big change for me coming out of the club world into this, and they've made it very comfortable. They've taught me a lot. The partnership is. I'm just fortunate to be in the room. I don't take it for granted any single day.
Well, you offer comprehensive IT services. Can you break down that a little bit for me? I mean, we're talking phones, printers, Wi-Fi, gatehouse systems. Is it everything? Anything I'm missing?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer is yes. All of that and more. We provide, like you said, comprehensive IT support. For private clubs or public, doesn't matter. Covering everything from help desk to proactive monitoring. It's like we offer everything from staff training on, modern office technologies, cybersecurity defenses, which we're huge on. So whether it's the Wi-Fi that goes down in the halfway house, POS system goes down in the dining room, printers aren't working in the pro shop, what have you. We handle all of that on top of obviously your infrastructure, making sure your data is secure. Any capital improvement projects that you might be thinking of, we would be in there with you. Microsoft 365 support, all of those things. The goal, is to be the one call that a club needs to make. You don't have to juggle 5 different vendors. If you have a problem with a North Star or a Jonas or a Club Essential or some of them, you call us. We're the middle person that calls them. I know it from sitting in the seat. GMs, head pros, supers, they have enough to do on a daily basis. They need to focus on their members, focus on that. Our job is technology. You call us, you tell us the problem, we contact them and fix it for you. So we try to, stay in between. You can obviously contact them, but we want you to be able to make one phone call and then we take care of it. That's it.
Good timing for that comment. When I was at the Lakes Country Club, we used Jonas for everything. Here at the
Mhm.
Springs, we use Club Essential, but we're transitioning to North Star. Effective, I mean, we're in the middle of it right now and launching
Well,
the
it's a lot
beginning
of
of
fun.
this upcoming season. Funny enough, I've used Jonas and Club Essential upside down and inside out, but I've never used North Star. So, uh, not sure if I'm excited or nervous, or maybe a mix of both. But that's coming here soon.
Yeah, North Star is so I used North Star at the last 2 clubs I was at. I used it at Upper Montclair and Knickerbocker. It's good. All of them are built for what we do on a daily basis. There's always some little hiccups and things. They do a great job of patching and putting in anything that's needed. Support's fine. They call or we call. They answer the phone. You're usually given a team, so I don't think you'll have a problem. It's a lot cleaner of a look, not as like data y, if that's a word. It looks a lot cleaner for everybody to use from the member side too. So I think you'll enjoy it. If you have any problems, you give me a call. I'll help you.
I will. And what's neat about it is that this was happening before I made this transition, and our IT manager is really into it for a couple of reasons. One, because right now we have multiple systems, solutions, and line items in our budget. So
Yeah.
if a member, we have 817 homes. If a member wants to put John Doe's coming in to clean their house next week, they have to use a solution called Dwelling Live. They've got to log in. It's a completely different look. Then they've got, because we're an HOA, if they've got a broken sprinkler, they have to go to another solution called Enumerate. They've got to have a username and a password.
Oof.
They've got to log in, different solution, submit the ticket, and manage that work order through that solution. They want to book a tea time. They've got to go through our website where they've got a username and a password, and then they have to be a golf member to be able to log into the
Oh,
tee sheet. If they want to book a dining reservation, the list goes on. And what
oh
North
my
Star is
goodness.
doing is combining everything into one username and one password, and I think that's where I'm most excited.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, to me, and that's why Club Solutions has kind of come through, and I hope we'll talk about that because the logging in to multiple things and the multiple clicks is a huge problem. So I'm happy you guys are switching over to something that's a little cleaner.
What are the boundaries of your services? And I mean, in other words, where do you draw the line on what you do and do not support?
I mean, honestly, the I would say there aren't many limits because we act as the middle person for clubs. So we're not going to support um, anything technology related. We will handle. If there's a Jonas issue, we're going to work with Jonas. We're not going to change things in Jonas. We're going to work with them to figure out what's being fixed. Um, we would call the vendor on your behalf. You guys would give us access to that. So then our team can work with their team. You shouldn't have to be on hold with all these vendors to figure it out. That doesn't mean that we're not technically supporting them because we're not going to go in and change anything, but we're going to be the middle person for you. So there's really nothing that we really draw the line on.
Data is becoming more important than ever, and as an operator, I want to make data-driven decisions on everything that I do. I mean, I
Oh yeah.
I look at the NPS score as a way and the feedback we get from just that in the dining room. But what kind of data analytics do you provide, and how detailed is your monthly reporting for managers? If I say, hey, I need you to provide me a report that I can break down and put into my board report, what's that look like?
So, like you just said it and hit the nail on the head. Data is everything right now in the club, in the world, let alone the club world. It's becoming extremely popular now because people want to get away from the spreadsheets and pulling all their own information and things like that. And that's why we built a product through Club Solutions called Club Concierge. The reason is talking to Rick and going through this and Mike is all these clubs, and you just said it with all the logins, everything is siloed. You have to go over here for your golf management. You have to go over here for dining. You have to go here for financials. You have to go into your payroll system to get your payroll. And there's so much clicking and remembering your usernames, passwords, and getting in and out of things. And what makes Club Concierge really powerful is it's not just a monthly snapshot or a weekly summary. We deliver reporting daily. So every single day, club leadership, anybody in the club leadership has an updated detailed view of what's happening across the entire operation. So instead of a manager spending hours pulling reports from 4 different systems, trying to connect the dots on a spreadsheet, they have everything in one place. So for example, like when I was at Knickerbocker, and I stole this one from Charlie at Upper Montclair, the GM, is we had a spreadsheet where I had all the revenue from each location for food. Then I had all the revenue for any alcohol or drinks that were sold. And then I had payroll for bartenders, payroll for servers, payroll for kitchen, all separate. The problem is I don't know who worked where. So I had to go into North Star and get the revenue and break it down by location. And then I had to go into ADP and pull all the payroll. Then I had to go into the scheduling app and see who worked where, and then put all of that into a spreadsheet and put it together and then say, okay, now what? I mean, that it takes you an hour, 2 hours to do. What we're trying to do is get away from that. We need things fast. So we developed this product to not only give you the past, but we also give you the future. We're able to tell you what is coming in the future based off your historical data, weather patterns in the last 30 years that perform on that day, what members may show up, the ones that definitely are showing up. We tie in your T sheet. Everything is one login, one setup, so we can get away from all these siloed areas. We're not replacing the North Stars and the Jonases of the world. We're working in tandem with them. We go in and we pull those reports on a nightly basis, and you have a daily snapshot of what's coming and what did happen in the past.
If a club like the Springs in the Coachella Valley here in Southern California hired you, you being on the other side of the country, what would there be a local point of contact when something breaks, or how does your support model work?
Yeah, so geography is something we've obviously thought a lot about. So also, Club Solutions Group, is a subsidiary company of Mike and Rick's main company, Circle Square Consulting. And we're all over the country, really we're actually all over the world. We're on every continent but Antarctica. And Mike always jokes he's going to try to find a way down there because he really wants to be on all of them. So our model is built as a combination of remote and local partners on the ground. Anything up here, obviously, we have people on site, things like that. But a vast majority of these issues, especially with modern IT, can be resolved remotely. But when you need boots on the ground, we have vetted network, local technology partners that we work with in regions we don't have our staff in. So a club in the Coachella Valley, would have a local point of contact for physical issues. You call us directly, we fire them there. Realistically, we could have someone on site within a 2-hour window. Meanwhile, our team is always available for, phone calls, ticket systems that we have. So that way the member experience doesn't suffer. Because we try to think about everything that could possibly happen during your day. So we try to fix all the small things so they don't become big problems. No different than having a cavity and you don't go to the dentist and all of a sudden it becomes a root canal, right? We want to fix the small things first so they don't become bigger.
I spend a lot of time on the CMAA Connect in the Best Practices Exchange. Just an unbelievable forum of people asking questions and helping provide solutions. From your perspective, what are some IT best practices that every club listening should be implementing today?
Funny you said that. So years ago, maybe 2, I was on that. The best practices, and I saw your name up there all the time, and then you reached out to me to talk, and I was like, I know this guy from somewhere, and then it clicked in my head, that's where I saw you. So it's funny. The things that are really like non-negotiable is really, number one is cybersecurity basics. Like you need to have strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, regular staff training. Don't neglect your network infrastructure because it can really come up and bite you. Know your systems, know your Jonas's, Club Essential, North Star, 4Ts. Make sure you're using them to their full potential because there's a lot of clubs that don't. Make sure, most importantly, you have a technology roadmap of some kind. Most clubs react instead of being proactive. So they're reacting to these tech problems instead of planning for them. Work with someone, preferably us, to build a strategy that aligns with where the club's going over the next 3 to 5 years. You see this a lot in construction. The last thing that they think about is the technology piece because they're so worried about where the couch goes, where the table goes, how many bar stools to have, where are the TVs. You need things to make, your TVs work and your POS systems work and put them in the right spot so the staff can work efficiently and it's not seen. Those are things we can go in and help you with. Even your Wi-Fi, which is always a problem. We have a software where you just give us the plans of the building, we throw it in, and it'll tell us exactly where to put those hotspots so all the members don't lose connectivity. Those are things that are extremely important, but cybersecurity to me is number one.
It's almost like you're reading my mind because, cybersecurity is such a big topic. I have a good friend through the Golden State chapter who works in cybersecurity. He talks about it often. What is happening in that space right now, and what advice would you give to clubs that are looking to protect themselves? Maybe someone listening to this that says, what is cybersecurity and what should I be doing?
Yeah, so clubs are, to me, one of the more attractive targets than most people realize because it's that, think about what a private club holds, member credit card data, home addresses, and you're talking about high net worth individuals' personal information, your payroll data. There's a lot. It's a gold mine for bad actors. And the main threats that we see clubs facing are phishing attacks where someone on the staff clicks a bad link, ransomware that locks up your entire system until you pay. And insider threats. Sometimes it's not a hacker, sometimes it could be an employee. Our approach covers proactive monitoring, threat assessments, where we look at your environment the way a hacker would, swift incident response, employee training, 100%, data encryption, compliance, insurance. Those are the things that are important. The single, most important thing I tell any GM or board member is your staff is your first line of defense. They need to be trained. You need to run simulated phishing tests and make sure it's part of your culture, if not on at least a weekly basis, a daily basis. It just really needs to make sure that the staff understands because some of these emails, and I get them, definitely weekly. Some of these things look so real, and it's you look, and all of a sudden, the O is actually a zero, and you're like, nope, that's fake. You got to make sure that the staff understands what's real and what's not. It's important.
What kind of training do you offer? I mean, I'm guessing virtual, on-site, maybe a combination of both.
Yeah, a combination of both. I mean, we offer, especially for Club Concierge, our data analytics platform. We do that training in person or virtually. It can be done for both, depending on what the club's preference is or location. But I like doing that one on site just because it's newer. Cybersecurity training, like I just said, which is a big part of what we do. Majority is delivered remotely. That includes like phishing simulations, security awareness, helping staff recognize threats before they become problems. The goal is to make sure that the people are that first line of defense, like I said, and not your biggest vulnerability. Because you don't need everyone in the same room to accomplish that goal. So a lot of our stuff is done virtually.
It shouldn't be, but AI is a buzzword right now. I mean, heck, my wife even lost her job to AI. It's been almost 6 months. Talk about trying to get a job when that's what's replacing you. How are you using AI within your business, and where do you see it going in the future for clubs? I mean, how I use it is not how maybe you use it, but then at the same time, when I get an email from Netflix that says we recommend these 10 TV shows and these 5 movies, that's AI.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, first of all, I'm sorry to hear about your wife, and honestly, that story is really becoming more and more common, which tells you everything about how fast this is moving. I mean, it is really quick, and it's popping up everywhere, and it just keeps coming, and it's here. And clubs need to understand and get ahead, of going to have like this massive advantage that you have by using this stuff. But you need to use it the right way, and you need to use it the proper way. For us, our primary focus is trying to enhance Club Concierge. We built it, a lot of it through it. There's obviously some humans doing this stuff too, but a bunch of it was done using AI. We take, data analytics, that data analytics platform and try to layer it with AI. So it's faster, more predictive. We don't just want to show the GM what happened yesterday. We want to show them the future. So I see AI for private clubs specifically in two areas that I think are transformative. The first one is the personalized member experiences. Imagine a club that knows members' preferences so well that every interaction feels like it's tailor made for that person. What their favorite table is, their usual tea time, their dining preferences, even before they ask the question. So I use the example all the time. If Ricky is the server at Knickerbocker Country Club, and I'm brand new, I know no one, and the other Ricky, Mr. Potts, walks in the door, who's said member, and I know that Mr. Potts likes a high noon because I've had this in my palm of my hand in Club Concierge. So you sit down, you have no idea who I am, and I come up to you and say, "Oh, Mr. Potts, I hope you had a really good round today. Would you like your normal high noon?" And you stare at me thinking, who is this person and how do they know that? And you're like, yeah, I would love one. That would be great. The level of service goes up. You don't need a manager on the floor to tell the person who it is because it's all right in front of you. What they eat, what they drink, what their kids like, what their spouses want. Those are the things that are so important because if you're a member at a private club, you want to be known. And with the turnover rate, especially in the restaurant piece of a club, it's a lot of it. So you need to have something in place to where there is no gap when you start to change over. And that's where Mike, our COO, comes in. He has been really deep in the AI space, even on the Circle Square sky. We're doing some really cool things. And honestly, his vision to where this goes has shaped kind of the business as a whole. We see what's coming and we're building it for it now and not later. We're trying to be a very forward-thinking company, and we're doing a pretty good job of that.
Go back to Club Concierge. I mean, what exactly is that, and what kind of data and insights does it provide to a club? Like, let's use the Springs as an example.
Sure. Yeah. The Club Concierge is one of those things that, I get really excited to talk about. I love the business, but this is something that we built and it's just a lot of fun to go through. It's a data analytics platform, designed to, transfer the private club operation into more of a, data driven decision making. It integrates with, your disparate systems. and takes all of them and empowers the clubs to deliver that luxury, 4 seasons, like I said before, member experience, while trying to also optimize labor and operational efficiency. The biggest problem at clubs is payroll. Pretty much any business is payroll, but you want to be efficient at it. You're going to have it, but how efficient can you be? The problem we kept seeing is clubs can, collect this enormous amounts of data, reservations, dining spend, golf rounds, member activity, but it's all siloed in all these different places. Your payroll, so Club Concierge pulls everything together, gives the leadership a unified view. It surfaces daily insights, into financials, member engagement, reservations, or, and obviously operational performance. So the GM or department heads can make decisions based on data other than gut feeling. Now, this Saturday is usually busy, so I'm going to put 4 servers on 2 bartenders, and I'm going to put, 5 people out on, by the first tee or pulling members' bags. But you don't know that. You just think it's going to be busy because it's a Saturday and the weather's going to be okay. You don't really know it unless you have the data in your hand. And that's what we provide. We're trying to give the leadership teams at these clubs the same kind of business intelligence that a top hospitality brand would use on a daily basis.
Love your logo and just your overall branding. Who designed that, and how many different designs did you see before landing on that one?
Yeah, thanks. That was a fun one to go through. We were kind of starting up the club solutions piece, trying to figure out what we wanted to do. Rick came up with an idea with the crown, and I like it a lot. And he has a friend who does this for a living, so he brought us a couple different options. We ran through a few different concepts. This one came pretty quickly before we landed on it. But I love the crown. I kind of wanted that, so I'm happy we went in that direction. We wanted something that represents the brand well. We wanted to make sure that it tells a little bit of a story. So it was fun. It was fun to deal with.
I wanted you to say that AI designed it. That would have been way cooler.
No, we used a human for that one. We used a human.
Well, as a fellow content creator, I'm a blogger, I'm a podcaster. I just love creating content. I noticed that you guys have a blog on your website. Who is writing that content, and where are you coming up with ideas and inspiration for new topics?
Yeah, so we have the blog on there. We're going to start using it more and more. I've been posting a lot of it. Griff Jordan, who's one of our he's our data analyst. He has one on there where he just did an enormous amount of work to get it done. It's very impressive. If you haven't read it, please do. So I've enjoyed the role of kind of building it. I'm the sales guy as well, so I like to get everything out there I can so people can see it when they start to research it. It's been a great outlet. It's the inspiration comes from 2 places. A lot of it comes from Club Concierge, obviously, and what we're seeing. And when you're looking through club operations data lens every day, the topics naturally just kind of come through. And then just my own experience, right? I mean, my experience goes into a lot of these things because I understand the pain. I understand the positives that go into clubs and working in them, and the headaches and the hoops sometimes that you have to go through. And I just want people to understand, like, we are you. We've been you. We get it. We're just not another technology partner. We are golf people, and we understand how it works. And I want to put that out there so people understand you're not just talking to a tech person. You're talking to somebody that's done it for a living.
Would you ever consider maybe a guest blog post? And I talk about this often. I submitted it to the CMAA Idea Fair, many years ago when I was a membership director, but I implemented a live chat solution at a club. Cost me $0 besides the manpower to run it, that generated over $300,000 in revenue. It'd be neat to write something about that if you'd ever welcome that to your website.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something we'd be open to exploring. The blog is still relatively young, and we're always thinking of new ways to try to make it more valuable for the club community. But honestly, before we get to that, because when you just said that, can we back up, because you just casually dropped you implemented a live chat feature and generated $300,000 in revenue, and it was completely free, if I heard you right. What's that
Sure,
story?
yeah, you sure did hear me right. And I guess I don't think about it as that, because it was just, it worked. Long story short, I went to a property that had burned down in the 2017 Tubbs fire in Northern California. They lost their clubhouse, their maintenance building. The only building that was left was their athletic center because it had a pool next to it. They literally, and I have like a hard time even picturing this. They would have helicopters get water from that pool to put out fires around campus. And I
Wow.
went there as a membership director, like literally right after the fires. So I'll never forget. Ron Banaszak was the GM that hired me, and it was within the Troon organization. And I remember him saying to me, "What do you know about selling memberships?" And we're standing there looking out over. You can still smell smoke in the air. That's how close it was. And I said,
Crazy.
"Ron, I don't know anything about selling memberships, but I'll figure it out." And he trusted me, and he hired me. And then he also tells me, just so you know, we've sold three golf memberships in the last 2 years before the clubhouse burned down. So not only do I not have a clubhouse, fun fact, never saw the clubhouse, never had sold memberships, have no idea what I'm doing. Well, 2.5 years later, I had figured it out, created scalable processes, sold 138 golf memberships plus probably 350 athletic center memberships, sold the club out onto a waiting list. I say all of that, that one of the things that I used to help drive interest and awareness was that live chat. So I used Drift, and it still exists to this day. It's free to use.
Hmm.
You can only have one person using it for the free version. There's a paid version, but whatever. And I just slapped it on there, put my headshot on there, and set it to my office hours, and responded to 100% of the people that came in. And it worked. It generated not only leads through membership sales, but it was also a conduit to the membership to say, hey, you got a question on a Tuesday, you're on hole 6 and you need a bottle of water. If you're at home and you want to register for an event, use it. It's an opportunity to communicate with the club, knowing that you're communicating with a human, the human that's the person that's face that's on the website when you type in hello, make a reservation for dinner for two on Friday night. And I tracked every dollar that was generated through that, including initiation fees and guaranteed dues revenue, and it produced well over $300,000 in revenue in, again, 2.5 years.
Wow. Good for you. That's awesome. That's a lot of work. That's very impressive. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. And I haven't talked about that in a long time. So thanks for giving me an opportunity to come and go down that rabbit hole. And I'm picturing all that, and the fact that I never saw the clubhouse done, and that's just wild that I was able to sell out memberships, and I
Well,
have
that's
such
what
a
I mean.
passion for memberships too.
Yeah, I can definitely hear it in your voice. I mean, to me, it's just that story does not come out unless I ask, because that question doesn't really tell the whole thing, obviously. And to sell $300,000 of revenue with no clubhouse because it burned to the ground, I mean, it's even more impressive now.
And I'll go back to one
Very
thing that you were
impressive.
talking about knowing what Mr. Smith likes to drink. I was really big on the data collection preparation for the tour or the site visit. So as a membership director, you have the choice. I could have a site visit on Monday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when there's nobody here and the club's empty, or I can make sure that I schedule that for 4:30 on a Friday, knowing that the club's going to be packed. There was an event that morning, and everywhere I go, there's going to be happy members that I can introduce the potential member to. But I would dive deep, and I would use the internet, I'd use social media, I'd find out who these people were, what they liked, pull data from their questionnaire. If I know that Mr. Smith likes to drink a Tito's and tonic, when he walks into that bar, do you think that the bartender is making a Tito's and tonic for him? You're darn right. I'll
100%.
I'll subsidize the loss of that cocktail in the hopes that he buys that membership off of that Tito's, not off of the golf course that I just showed him, not after, I mean, who knows what the reasons why people join, but if you walk in and you're handed your favorite cocktail and you don't have to ask why, that's power.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. You're giving them an experience, and the experience is the most important. That's why people join. The atmosphere, the experience. It's not just about the golf or the chef's really good. It's about the camaraderie of the place. And to do it on a Friday at 4:30 is perfect. Place is packed. You're going to be able to introduce them to certain people. You're going to be able to get them their drinks and things like that. To me, that is really well done. Great job.
Well, you're based on the East Coast. What opportunities exist to expand your presence over here on the West Coast, especially here in California?
Yeah, it's absolutely on our radar for sure. I mean, the opportunity out there is real. Obviously, I mean, you reached out to me on a whim, which was awesome. The California, private club market's incredible. You got places all over that we definitely want to tap into. And like I said, the big company on Circle Square side, which is our parent company, we already have clients on that West Coast, so we can get out there. Club Solutions is still a little young. Club Concierge is just really getting traction and going. So we're being a little intentional of getting our foundation here, and then we're definitely going to make our way west, no doubt about it.
I'm a Mac guy. Everything Apple, all the way through everything. Even our house is an Apple smart home, which is kind of fun. I even have my gate in my HOA set up to where I can talk to Siri and have it open the gate for me, which is really fun. So, do you support Mac environments as well, or are you just focused on PCs?
No, we do it all. I mean, honestly, you're speaking my language because I use a Mac, Mike uses a Mac, Rick uses a Mac, but we support everything. I mean, you see more PCs, at clubs than you do Macs, but we have a mix of both, so we definitely can.
It's really fun when I can tell Siri to open the gate and I'm like in London and my front gate opens. It's fun. Do you offer a newsletter that we can subscribe to learn more? And if so, I mean, how are you updating that? And how can we just learn more about you in this operation?
Yeah, so we don't have a formal newsletter at this point. I mean, we're trying to really, focus on the LinkedIn posts, our local networks and things like that. Newsletter can come, but we're trying to, really be more intentional with social, because that's where everybody seems to navigate to, especially when they're bored or they just want to start scrolling. So we focus on that latest content, in our blog posts and our social. That way it's a little bit more organic.
Let's go back to some golf questions. Again, PGA after your name. How many hole-in-ones do you have?
Unfortunately, I have zero.
No,
And
none?
that's zero. That's not for a lack of trying. I've come close pretty much every year. I either lip out, drill the stick, hit the flag. Something happens where the ball doesn't go in the hole. And I'll never forget when I was probably in my late 20s. I was playing with my dad at this little 9-hole track where you play, the white tee on the front nine, blue tee on the back, eighth hole, par three down the hill. I hit it behind the stick on the first nine and lip it out the left-hand side. I'm like, oh my God, I thought that was going in the hole. We come back, play the blue tees. I hit behind the stick, suck it back, and bang, it lips out on the right side of the hole. My dad looked right at me. He goes, "You are never gonna have a hole in one." I guess it's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. And I was like, I'm just convinced that the universe is just against me at this point. It's amazing.
You're gonna get one playing by yourself.
Exactly. That's going to be that's what I said. That's what I was talking to, Rick about. I go, I don't have one, but that's what it's going to happen. I'm going to pull the phone out. No, nobody's going to believe me. That's exactly what's going to happen.
So then that makes me mad, right? Like better players that don't have one. Then you've got these people like I've never played golf before, and I got two in the same 18 holes, my third
Yeah.
round. Like what?
It's brutal.
Like
It's
what in the
brutal.
world? What are you doing?
Could you imagine, as the GM and, the golf staff calls over, hey, hole in one, and the bar opens and everybody gets to come over and drink. And they're like, oh, Rick, how many do you have? Zero. Every time you ask me, it's always zero. Please stop asking.
Hey, I have a double eagle. I have that story with the 2 iron.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I stick my
That's
tongue out at you
awesome.
people that tell me that I don't have a hole in one.
Hey, that's harder than a hole in one statistically. That's harder.
Well, what's in your golf bag? And what irons and woods are you playing and what golf ball? Because there's some good golf
Yeah,
balls up there right now.
no, there sure is. Yeah, I'm a Titleist guy through the bag. Luckily I got my club maker uncle, who dials me in, which is great. I've had, pretty much the same bag for the last 2 years. Driver down, I can't stand hybrids. I just can't hit them, so I don't. So I got like a little driving 3-iron in the bag, and then I'm playing the Left Dash Pro V. A little lower spin, more penetrating flight for me because I got some backspin issues that I've never been able to fix. So I hit the ball pretty high. And to me, the golf ball is the most important part of the bag. If you don't have the right golf ball in the bag, it could go bad for you. So to me, it's one of the most important things to have in there.
I know you're a Titleist guy, Pro V1, I get it, but have you tried the new MaxFly golf ball?
No, but funny enough, my dad, one of his first jobs after he was done being my grandfather's assistant, was for Max Fly. So I played Max Fly as a kid for years, but I haven't played the new one yet since it came back out.
Pretty good. Give a sleeve a
That's what I've
try.
heard.
Yeah,
That's what I've heard.
man, we have covered so much today. I feel like we just started talking, but I mean, I've really enjoyed this conversation, getting to know another golf guy. Anything that we haven't talked about that you'd like to share with me here today?
I'd say there's something I feel pretty strongly about, I usually like to leave with people is, we talk a lot about technology and data, and rightfully so. It's just the way the world's working and the way we spin now, and it's transforming how clubs operate. But I never want to overshadow the human element, because at the end of the day, a private club is a people business. It's what it is. PGA pros, club managers, your kitchen staff, all the way down to the housekeeping staff. Those are the backbone of the industry. And those relationships are really important to members. They create a great culture. The better the members know the staff and the staff know the members, the better the place is. So to me, just make sure that human element never goes away. Even though I'm in the technology business, I don't want that human element to ever go away, because that's what drove me into it, and I had such a good time just meeting people. So to me, I just want to make sure that people understand how important that human element is.
Let's you and me tee it up. And I love this whole West Coast, East Coast thing. So you can come out here whenever it's, 110 in the winter, and I'll go out there whenever it's cold. But let's tee it up. Where do you want to play?
You pick it. I mean, I know you're in the Coachella Valley and there's some great spots. And the last time I talked to you, you said it's 110, but after about 3 holes, we usually see about 5 pools. So if that's the case, we'll just hop in, jump out, and then retee it again. So I'm perfectly fine just playing right in the Coachella Valley. But you got to come up here. I'm telling you, your winter is our summer, and you got to come up here because there are some great tracks up here.
Well, what's wild about the Coachella Valley, I mean, it's starting to get to where courses close. And it's not that they just close because there's nobody here. They close because it's so hot. And, when I was at the lakes, I mean, we do 300 plus rounds on 27 holes during the season. During the summer, I mean, it's 30, 40 guys max, and they're off the golf course by 10:30. I mean,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
golf courses in the middle of August, when it's 115, 120, the courses are in as good a shape as they are in March. Like, it's wild.
That's crazy. Dry heat too, right? I mean, where we'll struggle up here is you've got humidity. Humidity and that moisture brings disease, and that's where you got to be careful. You got to spray things, make sure you're watering the right amount. It's important. And then we go dormant, so grass stops growing. So prime time for us is that mid to late May. It's kind of stirring into June now, where you're really like perfect. And then you punch, and then you get into the fall. And if you punch in August, like most do, then fall golf is just awesome up here. I mean, the courses are perfect.
Leaders are readers, and there is no doubt you are a leader in a couple of spaces. I mean, in golf and in IT and technology. What book are you currently reading?
So I actually just finished a great one by Gino Wickman. It's called Traction. So I don't know if you've ever read it, but it's basically around EOS strategy and getting a grip on your business and building the right structure, the right processes, and things like that. Those are the things I like to read, especially all the leadership books and things like that. And it was pretty cool. Basically, how to build your business kind of from the ground up. Make sure you have the right people in the right seats, which is what they're very big on. Pretty good one. But I am a big football guy. I'm a big baseball guy, big sports person, but football is kind of my number one passion. So I always have a close one next to me, just in case I want to enjoy something, outside the business world. And currently that is Friday Night Lights, the classic movie. I decided I wanted to read the book. So I'm halfway through that right now.
This is usually the hardest question that I ask, but who is in your dream foursome? And that's anybody, alive or dead. And where are you playing?
Yeah, so it's funny. I was thinking about this, and people ask me this all the time. Everybody picks Palmer and Tiger and all that. I don't know who I'd really pick. I would say I don't really need a foursome. I'm good with my dad and my grandfather just to go tee it up. Um, we had some great rounds out there. It was fun, and to me, I'd love to do it again. If you throw somebody else in there, I'm okay with it. But I would just like to go out with the three of them, go to Augusta and tee it up, which I'm sure that's a very popular one. But that's one of the places my grandfather never got to play when he was on tour. He never qualified for it. Played in 9 U.S. Opens and 3 PGA championships and a senior PGA or two, but never qualified for the Masters. So I'd want to experience, his first time and my first time, and my dad's first time, all there, just the three of us.
Okay, we haven't really talked about Tiger. I am his biggest fan, so I need you to be careful how you answer this because we're becoming quick friends here. He's tied with Sam Snead, 82 official, PGA Tour wins. Do you think he gets one more before he retires? I mean, don't retire tied, Tiger.
I know, but listen, I really want him to because I'm a huge fan of him too. I love the grind. I love his attitude, obviously. He's just awesome. He brings so much to golf. I mean, he saved it essentially, and I want him, but man, his body is just, I don't know if it can handle more. I mean, his mental game, forget it. That guy could play till he's 150 years old. But after all the surgeries, the car accident, will he come back? 100%. He's definitely coming back. Will he win? I don't know. It might be his own tournament, might be the Hero where there's only 30 in the field. I just think a major would be difficult for sure. Another tournament, if he can get that putter hot and keep the driver in play, you never know. Do I think he will? I don't know. I really, really want him to, though. Really bad.
What's next for you and Club Solutions Group? What's the summertime look like here as we get into the hot months ahead?
Yeah, so we're just gonna, keep innovating, keep growing, keep making little tidbits of changes. We talk to the clubs that we work with, what they want to see, what they can't see that they want to see, any ideas they might have, because we can do things really quickly. What used to take 2, 3, 4 months or weeks, to get done, now we can do in sometimes a couple hours or a couple days. So if they want to see a certain report or something like that, we want to work, together with these clubs. Again, we're partners. They're not just hiring us. You're hiring a friend essentially. We want to keep growing, bring in more clubs. Bring them into the family. Every club that works with us, is better. They've technology wise, they've gotten better. They've gotten cleaner. On top of what we've been able to give them from a club concierge piece. So at the end of the day, our mission doesn't change. We believe private clubs should operate like a modern business, keep building on the tools that you have and provide the expertise that we have to make you guys better. That's, the best to me is absolutely still ahead of us.
Step into the heart of Scotland with Eden Mill Scotland Experiences. Journey through the art of craft distilling where tradition meets innovation. From blending your own gin to savoring the finest whiskeys, every moment is a celebration of Scotland's rich heritage. Whether you're a whiskey enthusiast, a gin lover, or simply an adventurer at heart, Eden Mill offers experiences you'll never forget. Book your journey today and create memories to last a lifetime.
In golf, the 19th hole is a slang term for a bar or a restaurant on or near the golf course. It's very often in the clubhouse itself. There are so many good ones out there. What is your favorite and what are you drinking?
Favorite 19th hole. There is some good ones. I would have to say I really loved, and I know I worked there, but I played there after I worked there, was Upper Montclair Country Club. They redid it, put in this huge patio and an enormous, call it halfway house bar, which it doubled as a halfway house / bar. But you looked out on all 3 nines. There was always a person playing a guitar in the corner or playing the piano and singing. And I am definitely drinking Tito's and soda with a lime.
Thank you so much for coming on this show. What an awesome conversation. And I love it when Ricky gets to talk to Ricky. You know what I'm saying? Going back to the just love saying that. It makes me laugh.
I know. It would have been hilarious if we had Rick on here to be like,
oh
Ricky
my
talking
gosh,
to
can
Ricky
you
talking to Rick.
imagine? I mean, you and I click right away. I've enjoyed getting to know you and this company and all the things that you're doing. And I hope you and I do get the chance to tee it up. You get out here anytime you want, and I'd love to show you around the Coachella Valley. But keep up the awesome work, and I'm excited to see where you go and where you grow from here, my friend.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure, and I'm happy we connected. And hopefully we can get you up here and play some golf for sure.
That puts this installment of the Wednesday Match Play podcast in the books. But we'll be back next week for another exciting episode of the show.